And welcome back. We're here on the desk, one game down. We got to see Mouse fall down, Obey stand up strong. There go to DreamHack. Mouse will have a second chance. For now, I've got a second team on the desk with me. I'm going to introduce myself, my co-commentator, Justin McClanahan, coming out here from the college scene. And, of course, Kurt Trey, Weekend, Megamind, pick your name. How you doing, bud?
I'm pretty good, man. How you doing?
Really glad to have you here. Really glad to have you here and commentate on the next one. Spacestation Gaming versus Rival. Let's zoom out, though, and take a look at the bracket.
Spacestation and Rival have been having a pretty good tournament so far. Rival looked a little shaky on the first day here. Spacestation came out looking really strong against SK Gaming, and that's really what I'm going to be looking into going in this matchup is their performance so far. Spacestation undefeated, got the 2-0 onto their Rival, while they have the 2-1 onto their. Not the strongest of performances so far.
Spacestation and Rival have been interesting to watch in their own right, and now they're going up head-to-head against each other. Spacestation, though, this is a team that now has a new member. Maybe not on the battlefield, but behind them. Dimmy, formerly known as Ninja Dimmy, if you can remember that far back. He's coaching for him, and we've got him standing by. Let's talk to Coach Dimmy right about now.
I'm here with Dimmy, coach for Spacestation Gaming, and I'm sure you know him from like the Energy days as well. The first thing I got to ask you is, I mean, that's a tough job trying to coach this team. I mean, what was the first thing you had to tackle trying to help out Spacestation as the coach?
Well, they do kind of have like a really weird fetish for Lono's mask and building it on supports like Guardians, and it just doesn't work. But Venenu is really insisting on trying it out. We've overcome it though. It's all good.
Well, this is such an important set here up against Rival. I know y'all don't want to give away too many strats or anything like that coming into this set, but I mean, after having you seen them play, I mean, talk to me about how confident the team is and how much you all want to get this win and make it as soon as you can all the way through to DreamHack.
Yeah, this match is insanely important for us. Just being able to see 3 games out of Rival instead of only 2, like some teams have played in the game before, is super important for us. We get to do so much more preparation for the game going into this, and we're actually feeling really confident just because we know so much about them now.
And what about the order of the games? I always wonder, you all are playing second, so you got to see Mouse and Obey play already. I mean, do you all pay any attention to that? Is there anything you can learn from any of those even that might help?
Well, there's the argument that it's the quote-unquote lower teams playing, right? And the stats don't really matter that much, but I don't think like that. I think it's great to see just how the land meta develops, and being able to play kind of late is absolutely amazing.
Well, it's good to get a chance to talk with you. I always love when you get to come talk with us, Dimmy. So best of luck here in y'all sets, and we'll get it back over to the desk to break it down.
Thanks a lot, John. Great interview there. Conversation with Coach Dimmy. Confident, charismatic as always. What can you tell me about how you think Dimmy's going to affect Spacestation?
I mean, you have a European coach coming in to affect an NA meta. That's not been really done before. You know he's hands-on. You know he's a world champion. He's one of the best players that's ever played the game. Coaching some of the best players that's ever played the game. I just expect really big things from this team.
And it's not completely unheard of to have these other region teams really having players come through to coach up here. I mean, I know the OCE scene has had a couple of big players come out and teach some of the European squads here, but I think one thing that Dimmy really offers them is a different look at the picks and bans. They've looked a lot more solid this week than we've seen during the regular season.
Yeah, that's been really exciting. We got a chance to talk to JeffHindla after the game, and somebody asked him what Coach Dimmy was able to do there, and he was like, Dimmy's just kind of blunt. He tells us we suck, or he tells us this is an idiotic play. And look, for a long time, I've been saying that that's kind of what this team needs. They worked with Quinny. They did work with Quintosh. I got to say that, otherwise he's going to hit me in the Twitter. But he was more of an X's and O's guy. He was a behind-the-scenes math dude. The guy to come in and kind of talk about the personnel level of the game is going to be Dimmy, and I think he's really approached that as well. Rival, they've got their longtime coach, Alpha Jackal. He wasn't here last time around, and coincidentally, they wound up losing. This time, AJ's on the battlefield. He's standing by. Let's get a conversation with Rival's coach going right about now.
Here with Alpha Jackal, coach for Team Rival. And the first thing I got to ask you got a lot of big personalities here on this team. I mean, how do you keep everybody reined in so you can make sure they're all doing the right stuff?
We should make sure that we have the same goal and same everything in mind.
Always make sure you're all working together as one big unit. Well, I was talking to Spacestation about how you play second in the day. Does it help at all to get to see Obey and Mouse and see what kind of stuff works in their sets at all? Or do you all just stay focused on your game plan?
I think it helps them a little more than it helps us, given it gives them a bit more of an idea into the European meta. But for us, it also helps us figure out what works on their side, what might work for us, and could give us a couple of extra picks that we didn't even think about.
Well, there's a lot of talk about EU looking a lot stronger than an A, especially here at this LAN. Do y'all feel any extra added pressure when you're in these international matchups like this?
No added pressure. We just feel the drive to win even more.
Well, I imagine that you all are feeling confident for this one. Do you guys think it's going to be the 2-0, and what do you think is going to give you that edge?
I think our drafting is going to give us the edge. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2-0, but I think the safe bet is a 2-1.
Safe bet for a 2-1. Well, hopefully it'll be a good set here between both of you. Thanks always for talking to us, and good luck, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Alpha Jackal's somebody that I've always enjoyed kind of hearing speak about the game. I think that he is a very valuable asset to Team Rival. And very realistically, you know, there was that conversation. I do think that Rival underperformed in the summer because AJ wasn't here.
Yeah, his thought process is insane. As a pro player, looking at the way he looks at the game, there's no one else that does it in the whole scene. He can look at the game, take a step back, create these strategies that no one's ever heard of.
And Smite is really a two-front game here. A lot of it starts up into the picks and bans. It's one of the most essential parts of the game is having a good draft. While they have the players to make the execution, you need that background mind to be able to tell you, no, don't pick this, that's a dumb decision, or to tell them, maybe try this, see if it works out.
We're 5 seasons deep here, and, you know, the preamble coming up to the Smite Pro League, right? These players have been playing for a long time. Once upon a time, you could just go out there, get a COG sponsorship, and be better than other people and win the game. Even back when Energy won their back-to-back championships under different banners, I think that was still the case. Now, everybody's kind of just really sick at hitting their buttons. You have to go that extra level. You have to really be breaking the game down on that type of thought process.
Yeah, if you're able to just take a step back and take the game from picks and bans down to strategy, down to implementing your basic mechanics, that's that core, that coaching all the way down to the player it's developed so much over the last 5 seasons.
And not only that, a lot of it comes down to the execution of your support as well, as we see JeffHindla and Kalas being highlighted here for these players. These two are some of the better and more mechanically sound players on these team. They both have a wide god pool. It's just ever so expanded since then. We saw Sylvanas was one of the top priorities here for SSG yesterday. We'll see if that gets banned out today.
JeffHindla's a player that is one of the more storied guys in the scene, one of the more beloved players, but he's had his ups and downs as far as his actual gameplay is concerned. I think he kind of got his stardom because he was a fantastic support, and then other people kind of caught up. But here this week, Jeff seems to be on a different level. You played against him during the regular season. Have you noticed Jeff kind of revitalized?
Oh, 100%. Maybe at one point you would have knocked at his mechanics a little bit, but that's completely gone. His team play is crazy. I think their team just has confidence, and they all have fun when they're playing. And when you have those two things coming together,
that's the biggest deal there is I think the enjoyment of the game. You come out with a good attitude, and to the fans at home, that might seem like a small aspect of the game, but being comfortable and being confident, that's how you win.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you make a mistake and your team says, okay, too bad, like that happened, like it's over, let's move on. Like that's such a big part of the game that people overlook.
Not only that, the snap decision-making from both of these teams on and off the battleground are so crucial to their playstyle here as we're already flying through the bans. No surprise, Mercury and Erlong taken away by Rival. Don't want to give those up. But Terra, Opwash, and Jing Wei.
Yeah, this has been a really quick pick and ban phase so far. Deathwalker will always be one of the weirder guys at our LAN. He's making sure to moisturize or
creeping everybody out a little bit.
hand sanitizer. The opposite. Have you ever seen Jeff get ready for a game?
I don't think I have, honestly.
Jeff does the Captain Twig where at some point the camera has to get it. Jeff does the Captain Twig where he licks his hands before he plays on his mouse and keyboard.
Oh no. I mean, that's like the sports thing, right? I wonder where he picked it up from.
I don't know, but Jeff does it, Captain Twig does it, and Deathwalker not buying in on the opposite side. Picks and bans though. Janus being highlighted here for Space Station. This has been a pick that's always kind of relevant, but we didn't really see too much of it this week.
I think if you're looking at Janus and Baskin, it's for the rest of the team and not for him. He's going to do whatever he wants no matter what they pick. There's some dive strategy with a disengage or something else coming in with this Janus.
And really, SSG has been the only team really prioritizing this Janus. We haven't seen really anybody else look at him so much, but they had a really strong performance on it yesterday. Got that big 3-man snipe over at that right side Phoenix.
Ares a nice selection against Janus. Janus is one of the unique characters. He can walk through walls, and Ares being able to cripple him down is a big deal, unable to walk through those portals. Halfway through the draft so far, Terra, Janus, and Athena picked up for the black and yellow. The purple hoods across the way are going for Opwash, Jing Wei, and Ares. So if I'm Team Rival, I'm really looking across the way, and I'm trying to ban out junglers. Andy, again, another player kind of revitalized. Andinster has been kind of hit or miss, I think, but now revitalized, looking really strong here in the fall split and then beyond.
Yeah, we might. I mean, he could pull out anything. He could pull out a rat. With this comp right now, they're able to control both sides of the map with the double global, while Rival wants to group up. Their 3v3 is going to be really strong, so it all just is going to come down to whether SSG wants to fight that 3v3 or they want to spread the map out.
So it's just a thought process of figuring out what complements or what anti-complements what Rival wants to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really like that SSG has covered both fronts of what we've seen previously with the possibility of this being Ares Walker. They took the Athena, they banned the Geb away, so most likely we're going to be seeing this Ares go into the hands of Kalas.
Certainly a thought process here. Rival, though, thinking about their last ban, it's going to be the Chiron, a character that's been picked a number of times recently. The cleanse is just that much. You know, it's interesting. It was largely a visual change. The cleanse remained unchanged, but now it's that you get the glow, and it's easier to kind of just mentally execute. So he's been very hotly contested. And when you look at Ares being able to cleanse multiple people out of Ares pull, that's a big deal. So Rival taking Pele away from Andy, and the Horseman going to be avoided. Spacestation Gaming now on the clock. They've already banned out Geb. Where do you think they're going now?
They could really reach out anywhere. Like we were talking about, Ares could technically even be a solo laner right now.
Yeah.
So it's really just where they feel the most threatened, and it's going to come down to what jungle pick they're looking at. That is the primary focus of this entire team comp coming up.
So Space Station are going to try and make Andy's life easy here?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Exactly. With the Robin ban.
That's a good ban there. Robin is a really good god at chasing down, and even though Janus can walk through walls, Robin can jump over a wall with that Mystic Rush, so it's a really good ban priority out there. And Iceice, I mean, he's just run a train through it all season long.
Ares, or excuse me, iceicebaby has really been a very exciting player to watch. Looking at this team Rival, he's been sort of the reluctant star to step forward. Deathwalker was the first player on this team, I think, to really just take hold and be a spotlight character. And throughout the course of Rival's success, we've seen each player kind of highlighted, except for Iceice, who it seems like Iceice, whenever the going gets tough, he goes, I guess I'll do the carrying, and he really does it.
Exactly. I think he's honestly one of the most underrated players, maybe in Europe, definitely on the team. He will compete with every jungler.
Yes.
No matter what, the very least he's going to do is compete with them. I'm excited for the Susano. We just saw what it did in the last set.
Yeah, the Susano was kind of the flashy pick that we'll see here for iceicebaby. Instead of kind of just being that, I'm going to come down just for the one big ult, everybody else do your damage, all right, cool, I'm out. He's going to be the one wanting to start these fights up. But the dodgy pickup here, I like this in response to Susano. He doesn't have that CC immune ult, so it's going to force him to buy either Magi's Cloak or the Purification Beads.
Hey, Ares for Ares, right? Both of the characters come on out. We heard the conversation that Captain Twig was talking about with respect to his dodgy. It's fantastic at the anti-dive comp, right? Ares and Susano are going to want to jump on top of you, right up onto the powwow, and see if you can answer back. Xbalanque. The only person we've seen play Xbalanque was BaRRaCCuDDa for Armada, the minor league team. Here's Space Station Gaming, the big boys squad, with a world championship coach. So clearly there's something here. What's the Xbalanque about?
It's LAN time, it's team fight time, and his team fight ultimate is insane. In the matches I played in, you have that 5-second window of engaging, doing damage, getting out, and then the rest of the other team can see. Like, what are you going to do during that time?
Turning off the lights here, especially like you mentioned on LAN, this is one of those, this is an ability that works meta. I mean, truly meta, as in outside of the game. Yeah, it's dark or whatnot, but what you're really doing, you're cluttering comms. You're really making sure that the opponent can't communicate, and that's we're at the big we're in the big leagues now. You're expecting everybody to be the best at their position. How can you affect them? Well, you can affect them as far as their teamwork is concerned and their communication.
And a solid few seconds of darkness onto the screen. You're not going to be able to see a dodgy go onto our powwow. You're not going to see a Janus ultimate coming from you in any direction. Being able to just effectively black the screen out makes team fights just so difficult.
It's also dummy loud.
Yeah.
I was talking to some players about tournaments past, Season 1, Season 2, and Xbalanque used to be picked up with other characters with loud ultimates. You would hit that Xbalanque ultimate and then hide the fact that there's a Janus ult coming through and an entire team behind it, because you can't hear it. All you hear is boom, boom, so you can't do anything
Or
about it.
even worse with the soccer standard, so it's as loud as you possibly can imagine with the vuvuzela noise. I mean, it's just so loud.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Fenrir, his performance this week has been just as ridiculous. A lot of questions. I've seen Reddit. I've been looking at Reddit a lot every night, and a lot of fans at home are kind of confused as to why Fenrir has been so popular.
I think people don't realize that Fenrir can play in the lane. You can play in the 3v3 fight at mids. You're able to dive, burn beads. He's got a lot of uses. I think it's just really underestimated by outside of the pro scene. Pro scene really recognizes how far it goes into a team fight, into a team game, into pre-burning beads when a gold's coming up. Those kind of things.
A lot of what I see at a Fenrir as well was with respects to the support position, although it's probably going to wind up on the short side, is the fact that he's able to be consistent through a team fight. You see a Bacchus, Belly Flop and Unchained are kind of similar. Belly Flop's actually a little bit better. Then Intoxicate, and then what do? You kind of wish you had a Polynomicon. Fenrir, he's going to jump, he's going to jump, he's going to jump, he's going to jump, and he continues to kind of waterfall through this one. What's your take on the draft? Who's got the better draft, J-Mac?
Right now, I'm looking at Rival, honestly, for the draft. I think that they have a much stronger pick comp that's going to work out very well for them.
How about you, Weekend?
SSG's draft is so cookie cutter, amazing team fight. Like, I have to go with SSG.
I'm loving the Xbalanque. I want to see him turn out the lights, but now we're going to get extra bright. Spacestation Gaming and Rival. This is a big one. Let's get to the action.
It really is a big one. Spacestation and Rival, two teams that have been around the scene for quite a while. Well recognized, and well, this year they've had their ups, they've had their downs. But this time, they're in the upper bracket final, and one of them is going to make hi-rez Expo right now.
And they might be on the back of Ares Walker. Again. This man just has no shame about taking this low clear Guardian into the solo lane. And it's exclusively in this matchup.
Against Terra, yeah. I was going to say, it's the only time we've actually seen it is against Terra. Now, the way we saw it played, I believe it was against FineOK, I believe.
Yes.
When he was in that match. It was FineOK, kind of pushed the wave out, as you'd expect Terra to try and do. And he pretty much froze the wave, played the lane relatively safe, knew he wasn't going to get any pressure in the early game. But that grouping of keeping him overextended for the minions caused so many problems for him.
I'm wondering how much Dimmy is going to be in Aquarius' ear before this game, saying because you know that SSG watched that set.
Oh, sure.
And if they're planning on picking Terra, then they should have been talking about the chances that happens again. And I wonder if Dimmy's opinion comes in here and if he has any experience in this matchup, because against most solo laners, I was sitting next to Alpha Jackal during that Rival CLG set. He just said, how many people do you think practice against Ares solo? It just doesn't happen.
True indeed. You saw the horrific emblem burnt by Callus earlier on in that engagement here. Just to try and get a bit more pressure in this lane. Obviously, Jing, Fenrir may struggle a little bit against Xbalanque in the early game. The branching bowler very underestimated.
Vote also struggled against Xbalanque earlier on in this tournament up against Armada, where BaRRaCCuDDa kind of took him to the cleaners on that selection.
For a game,
For a game, yeah, but I don't think that BaRRaCCuDDa picking Xbalanque is a coincidence. I think he looked at that game and said, well, if BaRRaCCuDDa can do it, so can I.
Well, I mean, it's also the fights of the ultimate. That's where I'm at with this, especially when you look at the composition Spacestation have got here. Athena, global mobility, Janus, global mobility, and then Andinster could technically power over a wall and pull someone. And if you can't see where these abilities are coming from, or that they're even around the area, it could cause a lot of problems for Rival.
Nice double stun on the BaRRaCCuDDa. His beads, a little bit too late. He was already mid-air and lost a lot of his health off that Persistent Guts knockup. Good aggression by Kalos and Vote, and that's what you have to do in this lane. Even when you have Jing Wei, because normally she's thought of that as that low-pressure hunter, she can fight awfully well, and you add in that Kalos Fenrir to the mix, it just makes it that much easier.
Love the fact if you keep an eye on the minimap, iceicebaby on the Susano. Just went to the back harpies on the left-hand side here in Space Station Gaming's jungle. He's trying to keep himself available for mid, but also available for the dual lane if a situation arises. But to the mid lane he goes, looking at Venenu. Low on manas, Wlfy comes in with the explosion. Woo. Good damage. The dot won't be enough, but he'll do considerable damage.
Ven is going to have to go back to base here, all out of health potions. Use one in the midst of that, so it's ticking, but he still probably likely has to go back to base and should be pretty close to his 900 gold mark, so it wouldn't be too bad for him. 900 gold is about where you want to back anyways, usually around 950 to 1,000, just so that you can get your boots too and a couple of wards. Looks like Venenu getting a little bit greedy, but I think him letting the wave push under tower should make him A-okay. Sticking
around with Andinster more than anything else, so the two of them will share the experience. Helps Andy out a little bit, I'd say, in one way, but also puts him in behind if Susano gets a bit more free farm. Speaking of the Susano, he's now over in the solo lane, helping Deathwalker out with those creeps in lane, because that's where he struggles, is wave clear.
And last time that Deathwalker played this, he had excellent ward coverage on that right side of the map and didn't really get ganked very much at all. And he's playing a god that can punish solo laners pretty well in this lane. And also Deathwalker was using No Escape as an ultimate trade-out tool against the Terra, because Terra's ultimate is team fight changing, wins you games. And No Escape has those moments, but it's not nearly as consistent. And so Deathwalker was pretty willing to take those trades. I don't know that he can be with G on the map for Andinster, because if he doesn't have No Escape, then he's guaranteed to get pulled.
We'll see how that works out for him as the game continues. There, mid lane, Wlfy playing the Puch, seen a bit more of it this tournament. Going for the penetration option at the start again, something that we've seen a little bit more of this tournament. I understand it, because supports are going for more magical defense earlier on. So having that pen to still burst the support down is very important in my eyes.
Specifically, Oni Hunter's Garb has really been the big thing that's making these mid laners go penetration early on. They just get so much defense and CCR that they don't even get locked down for very long. Between guard boots and Oni Hunters, you're at 40% CCR after 2 items.
Junglers meeting the jungle for now. Ice will engage actually towards Andinster, and Andinster just trying to get away as fast as his little legs can carry him. The tails won't do him much good there, but 2 speed buffs, and, well, the distance will stay the same throughout, with them both having the same level of tier 2 boots.
Kalas doesn't have his boots finished, hasn't back to base quite yet, so he won't be able to catch up, but look at this, speed buff.
Could be invaded,
right about to spawn. Ice just a moment too early to check in, and he knows that it's probably a minute too early. He was hoping that maybe Andinster just cleared it a little bit earlier than he had. At this point in the game, speed buffs will be mirrored, so as you can just basically just look at your own speed and understand when the enemy speed is going to be spawning, and he knew that he might be a little bit too early, but was hoping to get a bit lucky.
If everything goes well for these two teams, we could potentially see this matchup at the World Semi-Finals, or even the Finals if, you know, things get really out of hand for some of the teams that have already qualified there. Both these teams vying to try and meet the 4 teams that have already made it. Energy, Dignitas, United, and of course the surprise team, Splice. But look at this grouping.
Oh, Deathwalker's the one getting aggressed on right now. Defender of Olympus there as well. Big
There
damage.
you go.
And that should be first blood for SSG.
However, Callis is turned up, but he got pulled in by the powerhouse, still only level 4. Doesn't have that Ragnarok available. Beautifully timed by Space Station with Jeff hitting 5, and that's the combo I expected with the Darkest of Nights.
This is what I expected to happen for Rival, where they end up showing up in force to defend this blue. They're so good at understanding what you are going to do to their draft and working to counteract it. Kalas was on the way, Wlfy was on the way, but the threat of all these globals makes it so that Wlfy doesn't feel like he can really commit to that rotation. Kalas only being level 4 was a big deal. And I love Space Station's willingness to just say, who cares, we're going to try and execute. I think that Space Station sometimes falls in the same trap that CLG did a lot of the time, which is just waiting until you make a mistake.
Yeah.
And let's play a little bit passive. Let's not be the one to make a mistake. And you don't win titles by playing scared in the Smite Pro League. That is just Space Station saying, we trust ourselves to hit all of our stuff and understand the game to the point where we are going to win this fight. And they did just that.
My only concern is if they're going to be doing this for picks consistently, using 4 ultimates in that scenario, then there is a power play opportunity straight after that from Rival, where they could look at some objectives, they could look at some towers, knowing the Space Station will be on the back foot. BaRRaCCuDDa, he has to use his beads and gets the Rising Jaguar off in time to get away too, but once again, BaRRa's going to have to sit further back and be very careful about the Fenrir and the Susano that could come a calling.
Hell, he needs to be careful about the Ares as well, because Deathwalker likes to make those early rotations. If he knows BaRRaCCuDDa's ult or beads are down.
Can he as an Ares? He's got to farm the creeps at least, right?
I would say no, but I've seen some stuff so far this week that maybe he would end up rotating early on. I think Kalas is really all that's necessary, and Ice was just looking for purification beads in that moment. I think BaRRa could have been able to survive without using them just because Jetstream is already down from iceicebaby, which is his usual chase potential off of Wind Siphon. But I can't fault BaRRa for playing it safe.
Better safe than sorry in that scenario. Both these hunters going for slightly different builds based off the gods they've selected. BaRRaCCuDDa more than likely with the Transcendence after his boots, whereas Vote going for the sustain with the Devourer's gauntlets. This makes the matchup a little bit more interesting in the boxing duels.
Vote, as long as he's hitting more autos, should be in the winning position, but BaRRa's looking to just all in and kill you with 2 or 3 auto attacks after the poison darts and after the Rising Jaguar. And that's something that I can't fault him for going for. It's what Xbalanque does best in the lane. those extended boxing fights he won't do quite as well with.
Grouping from Rival on this left-hand side. Purple and red buff are coming up. At least the purple is. Red is available. Jeff starting out with Venenu as iceicebaby pokes his head round the corner. Him alone gave enough time for Space Station to pull back for a second, but Venenu's still on the run from Callus.
Great ultimate from Ven just to get out of that Ragnarok. Trading through space and time for Ragnarok, not too bad for Space Station. And normally I would definitely favor Rival by getting the global ultimate out for the non-global ultimate. But at the same time, you've already got so many other globals on Space Station that you're really not hurting without that through space and time. Plus, Ven's already at 20% CDR between his Mage's Blessing and his cooldown boots. So Ven really should be pretty fast and loose with those ultimates in this game.
Same time as that happened on the left-hand side from Rival's aggression, we did see Andinster look to make something happen against Deathwalker and then invade the back harpies just to get some farm for himself. Mid lane, though, Callus is in trouble. The leap gets him away in time. The Paolo! The leap from the Berserker will keep him safe, but Wlfy got hit, and that'll get his beads.
Not too bad from Space Station. I thought that was going to end up being really bad because of a really quick reaction time, but good ultimate.
Every single chain from Death again. He's been doing this consistently on the Ares too. We always looked at the Rival squad and went, Callus's Ares is amazing. Well, Deathwalker's like, yeah, you know what? I can also do the same thing.
They're best friends. I mean, they share that power together. It's what bonds them as friends, is their love of the powerful Ares, and them both being really damn good at it. And enforcing Aquarius back in this position is also really relevant because Aqua went for purification beads in this lane to make sure he doesn't get comboed off of no escape. So in that regard, he has to walk all the way back, missed half a minion wave in that lane, which is just crazy that now Deathwalker has the advantage in that lane. And Aqua's been playing this lane pretty scared. You won't see him use a lot of his skills. He'll just kind of wait, throw out those walls, and try and clear the minion wave that way. Not the traditional Terra clear, which is setting down your monolith and dashing through it to insta-clear the wave.
Well, that's the game that Deathwalker wants, is if you notice now, he's not even pushing the wave in if he can help it. He wants Aqua to walk up to this wave so he can go chain, 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 go back to base. iceicebaby maybe going back to base, but he will beads away to safety. Callus's Ragnarok hits onto Janus and gets the beads out there. Jeff actually ults. I don't think he wanted BaRRaCCuDDa there, or maybe he did. His vote was getting aggressive too.
Not too bad. Jeff is able... look, anytime BaRRa says help, even in his sleep, Jeff immediately presses for and just hopes that he's playing Athena at the time. BaRRa's in a boxing fight, ends up using his ultimate. BaRRa gets to hold on to his, and Vote uses Airstrike. Jingwei is still not vulnerable by any stretch, but has the option over the wall. He got him!
Now into the trouble, he dead. It goes Wlfy. The banish was good coming out from Venenu to set up the after damage.
That was blind. I don't think that he had vision on him from there. So they have a ward in the mid lane, and they had an idea of where Wlfy was. I don't know that he could see him from that
Maybe
far.
we can get a replay of that and have a little look back and just see if Andinster is really hacking in this game. And to be fair, what a game to hack in and try and get away with it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A World Finals qualification.
Little CSGO action, basically, for him. But Andy playing this god and playing it with confidence is something that makes Space Station go from a, yeah, they're a pretty good team, but I don't know, Europe's pretty strong, to this team could win a title. I mean, Andinster he's still got it, depending on the day, and I love that he's going in and playing with this level of confidence. Even if that isn't blind, that's not an easy shot to hit.
Let's go back and take a look then. The production crew have got it ready for us. Let's have a little sneaky peek at what Andy could see from this moment in time. So he knows, like you said, the ward was there, but can he see when he pops his head over the wall? Oh, just about. Cheeky peek through those trees there.
Yeah, that might have been how he saw him.
Bit of a peeping Tom is how you'd pop that.
I love it, man. And that's character knowledge, too, understanding what he can and can't get away with from that position. It did look to me, though, that Wlfy was just on the precipice of that ward, but still, Andy knows he's got, what, one shot, maybe two, depending on the way Wlfy jukes in order to hit that before he loses vision on Wlfy. That's confidence.
It works out very well for Space Station, gives him a bit of a lead, keeps Rival on the back foot, so I'll push a little bit behind. Same can be said, I guess, for the Ares. It's keeping them in check for the time being, but Rival are no slouches when it comes to being behind. They've fought multiple times this season from a negative standpoint and found their way back into it.
Best defensive team of all time. I'll say it forever. This team just wins so many games they have no business winning.
Tom from Jeff on Ice gets collapsed on straight away by Andy. The banish after the fact from Venenu comes through. And the CC chains are working a lot more, well, cleaner from Space Station so far.
Ven has been using Portal aggressively, but it's always been in very intelligent spots where he's not going to end up getting punished for it. He's still positioning well. He's still got JeffHindla right next to him. he's been A-okay. And Rival has kind of gone into the conveyor belt moments, which is how you lose games very easily. It's one person after another going in as individuals instead of as a team. And that's where Rival fell into trouble during this season, is when they stopped working as that team unity, which always made them so strong, and instead started playing like they were just individually better than all of their opponents. And a lot of times they're right, they are, but that's not what this team is good at. And them going back to their team mentality is what set them back to looking like a really good team again. If they default to those individual moments, then they could struggle in this set.
Return of damage from Deathwalker again. Won't get a kill at this point in time against Aquarius. As we mentioned, he does have the beads anyway. But there is a bit of a lead developing now. The side lanes are even, and I think that's why we're seeing a bit of attention from Rival trying to look towards BaRRaCCuDDa here. But the mid, jungle, and the support position, a little bit behind from Rival. Spacestation have a lead there.
And that's where those globals can come into play. Deathwalker's taking a lot of damage. Here comes Jeff again.
And the timing of the Aquarius ultimate there was perfect to prevent some of the damage onto Andy. Yeah, he'll get his ultimate off. Yeah, he'll get away for now.
No way,
oh, skin of his teeth.
Just barely. Even with Aqua popping that ultimate, it wasn't quite enough. I don't know that Aqua popped that from the very moment. I think he did it a little bit late there, and it ended up costing them.
Taunt in mid lane, not available for Jeff. I actually thought he would do it, but he held the taunt. Actually, just got Callus's leap out. So forced back to base from Deathwalker. And speaking of Deathwalker, he's gone for the cursed Ankh again. We saw this exactly the same situation against the Terra.
No blink in that, and that can end up hurting him, but I think that they've got enough initiation elsewhere with Kalos and with iceicebaby doing that for him that he doesn't really need the blink in order to get in there. This cursed Ankh pickup is so good against Terra. As soon as you upgrade it, you wait until Earth and Fury is used, and then you immediately pop Cursed Ankh, and the team fight is very, very difficult to win from that standpoint for Space Station because they're just taking more damage. You don't mitigate all of the healing, but it's still enough that you can really take those fights pretty easily. Plus, Wlfy has the anti-heal on Empty the Crypt. He's got the Fleeting Breath stun if that Earth and Fury comes out. Aqua has to be very careful on where he's using that ultimate.
Venenu under pressure, and he's going to get pulled all the way back in, but he's got backup right next to him. The dog was trying to bring the bone back to the team, but instead, it's the dog that's in the pound. 4th kill for Space Station. They're popping off.
BaRRa going one-on-one with iceicebaby. Vote's going to join in. That'll chase out the Aegis, but here comes the team.
Round the corner they go. Will they go through the portal? BaRRa will lead the charge. Andy, though, has seen a prime target at iceicebaby in the jungle around the gold. Vote forced to airstrike into the team fight. Oh, my friend, I don't know about that one.
And he's looking for even more. Great job by Vote. Oof. Nearly gets him, but BaRRa does put Vote down just in time.
Do you know what? That moment in time there, Space Station Gaming is like, all right, guys, you get the kill. I'll go back to... Oh, no, he's nearly dead. Quick, kill him. However, Gold Fury now started up below 50%. Wlfy the only one around. It's now Puch. It's going to be pretty tricky to get away. I love Jeff just like, how's it going, friend? What you up to?
Yeah, what do you want to do? You want to come in here? I don't think so, kid. Get out of here.
Unless you don't like beads, right? Like,
exactly. You don't need them. What a fight by Space Station. And again, it's Andinster and Ven doing great work alongside JeffHindla. That core 3v3 has just heavily outperformed rivals so far. And Kalos' decision-making has been outright poor.
I'm going to say, the Fenrir players in support, honestly, have been quite awkward. Like, you can see the aggressiveness with the leaps, but they've just not been finding a home. Not necessarily because they're missing the ability or aiming it wrong. It's down to, I guess, players knowing how Fenrir is going to initiate.
It's just the decision-making there from Kalos isn't very good. He picks up Venenu, and Ven doesn't beads right away. And that pulls in Ice Ice and Wlfy, and then Ven goes, okay, I've gone as far enough, hits the beads, and then that cancels the CC immunity of Kalos right so that Jeff and Andy can jump on top of him and hit him. That was sick by Venenu, and it looks like bad reaction time, but I really think that's intentional. He's assessing the situation. I don't need the beads. I don't need the beads. Okay, damage dealers are in, and my help is here. Now is when I can use them.
Not gonna lie, Dimmy joining Space Station Gaming, I wasn't like, okay, cool, they're gonna be Worlds winners now. I was like, all right, whatever. Like, they've had issues with drafting. It makes some sense, right? They've had a German in that camp before in the coach role, and it didn't do any good there either. So thinking Dimmy there, I'm like, okay. But it really does feel that Dimmy's helping them with the draft, and the conversation is making them look a lot better.
I also think that I've always said the draft, yeah, he'll help them in that regard, but a lot of people can help you draft. I think that just having someone of Dimmy's stature around your team and giving you words of encouragement is really, really helpful in a team environment.
Kind of like me with you, right?
Not at all like that.
Okay.
It's actually the opposite.
I thought just...
I mean, think about Andinster. Yeah, think about Andinster. This is a guy who said before that, you know, sometimes he's lost some confidence in himself or has had some trouble at LAN. I think having a dude like Dimmy go, what are you talking about? you're insane. You're just better than people. Go play like it is really, really helpful for your mentality. And Andy has been hard carrying this game. He's played great.
And it's not argumentative. It's more like a difference of opinion that you can come to a conclusion where you can all agree.
Yes.
Pyromancer started up here by Space Station. Rival know what's going on. BaRRaCCuDDa still on the left-hand side of the map, so there is a power play for Rival here. And his B's been forced by the Ragnarok out of Callus. A little bit late on the Darkest of Nights from BaRRaCCuDDa there as that's used across the map. And now that's swayed down. It's just business as usual. If anything, Space Station are coming out on top of this, surprisingly enough, because they're going to get a tier 1 tower.
Good patience by SSG. Good quick portal by Ven. Make sure that he doesn't get picked up. I wouldn't have minded if Andy used his Powwow instead, or maybe even blinked out of that Ragnarok to not lose the purification beads, because now he will get hunted by Deathwalker. But he's got Powwow. As long as he's patient with that ultimate, he can still get out of all that danger.
Really objective focus so far from Space Station Gaming. They get the Wlfy, they take a tier 1 tower, they keep poking back at the Pyromancer, looking for the next window. The level lead is starting to become even more problematic as time goes on for Rival. And not only that, the gold lead is slowly stretching too with how this is going.
All the talk about Rival coming in is twofold in my mind. Number one, are they the same team? They've been playing worse, all that stuff. And we don't have the final answer to that until the LAN is over in my mind. The other question is, or discussion I should say, is that iceicebaby has kind of become the guy for Rival. And Deathwalker is still playing well, and Wlfy and everyone else still playing well, but Ice the new focal point on this team? I think it was a big talking point about Team Rival. And Andinster has just put the man in the dirt so far this game. Ice 0-2. Hasn't really, he's done decent damage. I mean, he's second on his team in player damage.
Is that the selections though? Dodgy versus Susano? Is that just a specific matchup that helps this? I mean,
I think the matchup for Dodgy is very positive.
Right.
Because you can't get Wind Siphoned out of your 2. You can't get Typhooned out of your 2. But at the same time, Andinster's fight selection has been better. His positioning has been better. Ice should be spending a lot of time in the mid lane, but he really can't because Ven got off to a really good start, and there's double global ultimates to come and help him in that spot, and he can't really aggress in that situation. Ice has a bad matchup in this game because of the comp, but at the same time, Andy's just played better.
Pyromancer's getting low. Callus turns up to the fray, goes in with the Ragnarok again. However, immediate ult out of Andinster there to sway that. Didn't find the chains after the fact. And meanwhile, Barry's still on the left-hand side. Remember, Wlfy is coming up. This could be Rival thinking they get a Pyro if they're not careful while they're losing a Wlfy, because that's where Space Station seem to be trending towards right now.
That was perfect by Andinster. Everything was flawless, except he missed the chain.
They're actually going to go back and try and contest his Pyro, but it's already dead. The fight after the fact might be a different story. Space and Time's going to open up a window. Callus ate more damage than he bargained for there. And Andy's looking to clean up with the dot damage. Wasn't enough. He gets around the back of Deathwalker, but he just went too deep through the portals, and Rival have found a window to get 2 kills.
BaRRa's in a lot of trouble now as well. He's got a beads and dash away. That pathing from Andy, he was out if he just walked to the left, but he takes the portal back in right behind iceicebaby, and Ice with the easy punish. That good idea there from Space Station, but it just didn't work.
Oh, this could get worse. Space Station have had a lead for the whole of the game so far.
BaRRa's not going to check it.
One mistake at the Pyromancer is going to cost them the Pyro, 2 deaths, and a Fire Giant. Rival? Well, it's Rival. What do you expect? No game's easy.
This is what they do, and this is where Space Station historically has had a real trouble bouncing back after these moments where they look good, they look good, they look good. We mess up one engagement, and now the wind comes out of the sails. The air's out of the balloon. Space Station needs to keep on the gas here, at least in these team fights, because I think they can still win them as long as they're hitting their stuff and continuing to work together as a unit. But Rival getting confidence and getting themselves on even footing is difficult to fight.
Now the question is though, is Rival need to be a little bit careful right now because Space Station will have their ultimates up a little bit quicker than Rival based off how the engagements previously just went. Obviously it was 2 fights back to back at the Pyromancer, so Space Station should be okay, and I think Rival just hold for a minute or 2, wait for their ultimates to come back up, then look for some of these towers and use this Fire Giant to their advantage.
Deathwalker top of the player damage charts right now, man, and that is an aggressive Ares build. He is not particularly tanky right now. There's only 1 shell for Rival. If I'm on Space Station, I think I'm going at Deathwalker in these fights. He should be a pretty easy target.
I think the thing is, though, if you looked at the Deathwalker and the Ares, you may not see the Fenrir coming to your face and cause some problems.
But he doesn't do a lot of damage. I mean, Deathwalker's going to do far more damage.
Just a CC.
The CC's good, but is it better than the no escape and all the chains that Deathwalker's putting out? I mean, Deathwalker has basically double anybody else's damage on Rival. No one else is putting out quite as much. Wlfy will start to. Vote will start too. Ice will start too. But for now, I think that focusing out Deathwalker isn't a bad idea for Space Station.
I do always look at player damage, though, from solo laners, any solo laner, and I kind of like knock it in half, in my view, just because you're in a laning phase, you're going to be hitting each other consistently. So if you knock half of that off, then he's down, you know, and he's doing more. But he is definitely being impactful.
But at the same time, you look at Deathwalker's build, and there's just no health in that build at all. I mean, you've got Guardian's Blessing health, and you've got a little bit from Voidstone, and that is it. You can chew through this man. It's not like he's way ahead in levels over everybody else. This is the moment where I think you can really punish him, especially once Aquarius finishes off that Soul Reaver. Aqua does need to be very careful about his blink engagements because he'll get cursed onked right away. But that is actually best case scenario for Space Station. Aqua hitting 5 members of Rival and no members of Space Station normally would be a bad ultimate.
But now it's good.
But now it's good because Cursed Onk won't affect the rest of the team.
Speaking of relics as well, Jeff has been running around this Sunder for 2 levels so far, and he's upgraded it too. Not an item we see all the time, but Athena specifically NA as well, I will say. We see it quite often. Doesn't always get utilized the best way possible, normally after the fact, if your recent teams have been casting. But we'll see if it can make an impact, because it can burst down a target relatively quickly.
Kalas looking for Jeff right away. Just hold him in that empty the crypts. Jeff getting really low, and he's gone.
That's a nice easy pickup for Deathwalker. Aquarius took a lot more damage than bargained for too. That could be a sign for Space Station to give up the goose at this tier 2, fall back towards the Phoenixes, and instead, really, they're just the tanks don't have any help.
And there's just not a whole lot Space Station can do to peel for Jeff. Ben uses that through space and time. BaRRa with the Darkest of Nights, but Rival doesn't have to be too concerned in that spot because they've got Opwash to cover the entire lane so that no one from Space Station can walk at them.
And now grouping in the mid lane from Rival. BaRRaCCuDDa is the only one really around here. There's not a whole lot he can do in this scenario. If anything, try and bait him in a little bit deep, a couple of abilities too, but after eating that much damage, he's not going to like being front line there anymore.
Opwash, man, that character is insane right now. Just so much area control at the same time as damage. It gives himself sustain with his own corpses. Everyone has been asking for Opwash and Conquest forever, right?
That's true.
This is what the people wanted.
And this is what the people shall get. Only 9 kills in the game so far, but it has been action-packed. It's not just about kills in Smite. It's a side effect of trying to win the game more than anything else. Objectives is what you're really after. And in the objective tally, yeah, it's 2 gold furies for Space Station. But the problem is that Fire Giant from Rival, even at 3 kills, it makes an impact and makes them get the gold lead now they've taken the outer towers.
And Space Station has done a really good job in fighting in their little skirmishes, the 3-on-3s, like I was mentioning earlier. They haven't proven that they can take the 5-on-5s. They've lost both 5-on-5s they've had so far.
We've not really had one, though.
There was the one by Fire that they lost pretty heavily.
I kind of felt like that wasn't a 5-on-5 because they didn't have any ultimates in the first place. They just used a couple before that in the skirmish, right?
Yeah, but they didn't take that fight. We'll say that. And then the tier 2 fight, they barely do anything because they just get ran over by that Kalas ultimate. So now you look at Space Station and you look at their composition. How well can it team fight? Terra is supposed to be the band-aid over the global ultimates that don't team fight particularly well. But with that Cursed Ankh and this Ares selection, it really shuts down Aquarius from being able to do his usual Terra duties.
Well, now the dance of the Fire Giant will begin. Experience doesn't really matter in this game already, as everyone is level 20, barring the supports as you'd expect. However, with no towers in tier 1 or tier 2 in the mid or right-hand lane for Space Station, defending this Fire Giant makes it much more difficult for safety nets.
Jeff has got to find a good taunt target in these fights. The last few fights, hasn't really been able to find one. Kalas has the Magi's Cloak, so he's not a good one. Deathwalker might be the best.
Oh, Aquarius goes in, blinks in, gets the ultimate off. Deathwalker going to ult respawn space and time. Didn't find a home, but Deathwalker ate a lot of damage there. So did Wlfy. Andy is fully on Wlfy and just chopping him down. Now the powwow comes into play. Deathwalker removed by the unstable vortex out of Venenu. And now there's only 3 members of Rival left standing.
BaRRa's got help. Ice back into the back line looking for Venenu, but can't quite find him. BaRRa gets pretty low himself, and Kalas up and over the top takes him down, but that unstable vortex was sick.
And now it's just Vote left alone to deal with 2 damage dealers. Aquarius going to go back in and prevent the exit strategy, but he left Venenu alone. Vote will get the killing trade at least. And I don't think the Dargy and Terra can do the Fire Giant alone at these health bars.
Ven, what are you auto-attacking for, my guy? You're never winning that trade back to his old Hunter days, I guess. In his own mind, Ven just got to turn and run because I think you can 3-man that fire, even being a little bit low with Terra sustain. But overall, what a fight by Spacestation. So again, Deathwalker does a great job of using no escape to give himself CC immunity so he doesn't get sundered right away, but he still gets hit by it because Jeff is just hitting him whenever he's got the no escape. Flawless ultimate by Venenu, hits right up the corridor, is able to get everyone in position and out of position at the same time. Aqua with a gorgeous blink. Earth and Fury did a ton of damage. His Soul Reaver did 800 damage that fight, Graham.
Crazy. Crazy
Dimmy was
amount.
right. I was wrong. Soul Reaver Terra is busted.
A caster admitting they were wrong?
I was wrong.
Is that normal?
Nope.
Neither is this game, quite clearly, either. I will notice as well, Venenu didn't hit any damage at the space and time, but still put out 2,500 with his unstable vortex.
Dude, he had 2 insane ones, and he was patient with it, too. A lot of times, you'll see Janus players just tossing him out all the time.
Every time it's on cooldown,
It's a low cooldown. Who cares? Well, it matters, because it's your only damage option. He had 2 that fight, which were critical. Killing Deathwalker when he got pulled by the powwow chain, which is good communication in the middle of chaos for Space Station to know that stun was happening. And then the unstable vortex that just ripped through Rival. Rival was winning that team fight until Ven hit everybody with that too.
The only thing everyone can agree on right now is Andinster is popping off
Beast.
so far on this
Absolute
Dargy.
animal.
His decision-making has been fantastic throughout so far. He's been in the fights. His parallel usage has been great on the correct targets too at the right time, and he's setting up a lot of what Space Station needs. Space Station really looked like almost like a different beast right now than what I saw throughout the year, because I didn't have high hopes for him. I'm starting to feel that way now.
Jeff again, same combo, right into the empty the crypts, and
Wasted.
Jeff getting low again. No escapes right there. Jeff gets brought back and brought down.
I don't think he realized he was hit by that no escape, otherwise he could have ulted away. Andy with the powwow now looking to clean up, but Bo took out Aquarius in trade, so it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Rival, and now Andy was left with no one around him after the powwow. His damage dealers had to exit stage right, and he's going to go down. Rival win the fight. Crazy.
Space Station need to come up with another strategy for when Rival is the initiator. Last time, Space Station took it upon themselves to get in there, but I don't know that Aqua had the blink up and ready for that last team fight. So instead, Rival just go back to the same thing that they did underneath the tier 2, which is jump on top of Jeff, Ragnarok him, and kill him right away. You're right, by the way. Jeff had ultimate.
Yeah.
If he survives in that situation, then that fight might have gone differently.
Jeff's an experienced player, and like supports get called out for mechanics and things, but he knows if he's getting hit by a no escape to ult away, and he would have done so. I just don't think he realized it until it was too late already. He dashed and then got pulled all the way back again. Unfortunate affair then for the Space Station support as Rival get a second fire giant now. The critical ones, the real critical fights. When Rival need it, they'll win them. And at worst case scenario, they'll make sure you don't get to do anything.
This is what Rival's draft is designed to do. We're talking about the globals for Space Station. They've got Janus and Athena and Xball, but Rival just has really big abilities that are really, really good in team fights. Typhoon did 1,000 damage that last fight. Empty the Crypts did 1,600, and that's before the Soul Reaver procs. It's absolutely insane how much area those cover and how they're initiating onto Jeff, and a lot of times teams at 30 minutes, they would pay you to initiate onto their support. But with this Rival composition, Typhoon and Empty the Crypts, feel free to walk up and try and help them.
That's exactly what I thought. During the commentary, I was like, why are you focusing Athena? She's going to be okay. Like, she can get out of this situation. No problem. Oh.
No
Too much damage.
No Oni Hunter's Garb for JeffHindla. That would be really helpful here. That 6% damage mitigation would be really big. He's going for He's going for Magi's Cloak now. He decided to go for Spirit Robe instead. I think the Magi's would have helped him a little bit more. At least prevent that initial jump in from Kalas from stunning you to guarantee that Ragnarok.
Well, even though Rival have been against it for some time in this game, the second fire giant now, and all the towers down, it's about sieging, and that's where we turn the conversation to now. Who's better, the Siege and defense team here or the Siege and offensive team?
Opwash is so good on both sides of this coin that it makes me think that Rival's got a really good siege comp, but if Venenu can find the right angle with through space and time, very few characters blow up sieges faster than Janus can.
Did you know one ult can win a game?
No, that's Scylla.
Oh, right, okay. I think it's kind of Janus on defense for me.
No, it's Scylla.
Okay. Well, no Scylla this time round. It's on Venenu to see what he can do. Not a ridiculous amount of cooldown in this, which we've seen out of some of the Januses before, actually. just going for the major pen. Obviously, he's got a bit of cooldown, but no Chronos Pendant. Seems to be fallen from favor Chronos Pendant too, right?
It's expensive. The power is still good. It still would be a good item here for him in the 4th slot. It would overcap him with CDR if he goes for a purple pot, but
True.
I don't find that to be a big deal.
It's also 30% CDR on his own. That's how I always look at that. Callus going to walk his team in, tank it up because minions may be a little bit awkward, but the minions are actually still alive for now. Aquarius going to blink in towards Wlfy. Immediate no escape comes into play too. Andy's in the sky with a power. Lot of damage on Rival here. They got bursted way heavier than bargained for, and everybody on Space Station is still alive. However, Deathwalker this time hovers in the air on the no escape, and Space Station smash everything into the God of War.
Two things go much better for Space Station. Again, they are the initiators this time. They're not letting Kalas be the one to dictate the engagements, and they're making Wlfy use his ultimate instead of as the kill tool and zone tool, as a please don't hurt me tool. So that goes well. And also, Venenu's positioning there. Most of the time, you'll see these Janus players sit around that sentry ward that is in between the left Phoenix and the mid Phoenix. They'll sit behind that wall, and that's the angle where they threw space and time from. And Rival's very cognizant of that area of the map. So instead, Ven slides back underneath that pillar that's next to left side Phoenix and throws a different angle.
Andy fight against iceicebaby, but he doesn't realize that Wlfy and Vote were right behind. Under a lot of pressure, trying to get to the portal, but already the gap is closed. Callus jumped in. Vote's basic was good enough. The portal was a little bit too late, and Andy, well, caught with his pants down there, in all honesty. He was just slightly too far forward, didn't know the whole squad was waiting.
That one hurts, that's for sure. That doesn't give Rival a guaranteed Fire Giant, but pretty close to it, because Fire's respawning in 50 seconds, Andy in 44. It'll take him longer than that to walk towards that Fire Giant.
So far, if you're a Space Station Gaming fan, you won't be too upset considering how the last Phoenix Siege, the very first Phoenix Siege, went up against Rival. I didn't notice as well, I was pointing out to you, Wlfy didn't have Fire Giant there. Was he dead?
He died.
I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. I didn't realize one of the members had already fallen. This Fire Giant, though, back to it again. Obviously, Space Station try and defend, or do they? I know you just said about Andy, but I think they can get there.
It's tough, because normally with Janus, you want to take any fight in the jungle you can, because it's so hard to track you down and figure out where you are, and your through space and times are so easy to dissect team fights. But with Typhoon and with Empty the Crypt, those are such insane team fight abilities in the jungle that I don't fault Space Station for letting this one go necessarily. I don't know.
It seems they're going to give it up, yeah.
I think with Andinster just now respawning, that's the difference in not defending this. I think otherwise, if this is a true 5-on-5 and we've got everything ready to go, I think I would have taken this, especially knowing Wlfy's relics are down.
Yeah,
that is a fight you definitely want to take. In fact, I wouldn't mind Space Station trying to jump on Rival early as they push a lane, but Wlfy too savvy for that. He actually backs to base. So Andinster getting picked actually is a bigger deal than I had initially realized.
I do think like we do get this spectator view, so obviously we get the cooldowns of everything. Space Station in the midst of a team fight probably didn't realize that Wlfy had that window, because I think they would have initiated them. They probably would have tried to contest.
It's still a 4-on-5, and he's got the Magi's cloak, so he's got pseudo beads anyways.
But Janus could get him in there anyway, even if he's late, right?
You can, but Andinster is the big one who's punishing you for not having relics with Powwow.
Yeah.
So he's not there, so you can't really take advantage of it as much as you normally would.
13-10, 35 minutes in the game then. Gold, well, it still matters a little bit for power potions and upgrading relics, which there's still a few upgraded relics to happen, mainly on the side of Space Station Gaming. But now Rival going to barrel down the left-hand side once more, bring the minions with them, and look basically for a better fight at the Phoenix than they got last time.
Soul Gem is the last item for Ven instead of that Chronos Pendant. And this item is very, very good on Janus. He stacks it incredibly quickly. Anytime he goes through a portal or lays down a threshold and walks over it, he gets a stack on that Soul Gem. And it's excellent in conjunction with his burst. However, it can cause some awkward interactions with that fleeting breath from Wlfy. Might incidentally stun himself or a teammate just for hitting his ability. Outside
of Rival using Callus to just jump in here, they don't really have much initiation in all honesty. It's kind of a manual walk up. There goes Callus though. Immediately though, pressure on BaRRaCCuDDa, who has to use his Magi's Cloak straight away. Callus' Ragnarok isn't down him, but the Phoenix is nearly dead. However, the Phoenix is still alive and whacking away on Deathwalker.
Jeff doesn't get pulled this time.
Phoenix
Was there. Here comes the Powwow. One brought in. That's Deathwalker as the Phoenix finally falls.
And now the backline of Space Station has to fall back. Jeff jumps on by Callus again. Deathwalker trying to help out and being whacked on from the bowlers from BaRRaCCuDDa. It's not enough to get a kill just yet. Rival's still alive. The Fire Giant will regen them now, and they can turn their attention towards the mid or right-hand lane.
So last left Phoenix Siege, BaRRa and Ven used their ultimates at the same time, so no one could see where through space and time was coming from. That time, Venenu fires it off early, tries to predict where Rival's going to juke, and BaRRa holds on to his ultimate. I think those needed to come out at the same time in order to make that much more guaranteed.
Look at iceicebaby. Look at iceicebaby. He's wrapping around the back and nobody knows this is coming. This could cause so many problems. They might be looking at Aquarius though. Venenu walks towards him, doesn't know it immediately, gets the Aegis out of the Janus. And straight after the fact, an airstrike from Vote brings down Space Station's mid laner. Soon after the Phoenix falls, and the base of Space Station is now in tatters.
That is the perfect tag team right there between Ice and Vote. Ice gets most of Ven's health, gets his Aegis, and then he tags in Vote as he's coming off the top rope with the airstrike. Perfect job there by Rival.
Really well played. Just using the map more than anything else. That's what we were saying on the initial sieges. Rival just kind of have to walk at you. Well, if there's an open entrance that you can sneak through, you can get behind them. First Phoenix cost them even more than they expected for Space Station.
And it's been pretty simple in my mind. Every time Kalas is allowed to be the one to jump in, Rival win the fight. Every time Aqua blinks in first, Space Station win the fight. So why is Kalas allowed to walk in and jump on you before Aqua's blinking into the backline? I think that Space Station need to just, until Rival prove to me that they can beat us in a team fight where Aqua blink ults me, then I'm going to keep doing it. And really, Kalas there, he jumps onto BaRRa instead, who has the Magi's Cloak, still able to start hitting him. Then he uses the ultimate on BaRRa instead of Jeff. BaRRa has beads, Jeff does not. So then he's able to quickly get out of that and start hitting Kalas, but it just wasn't quite enough damage. Andinster was a little bit too preoccupied with where the backline was to keep them from coming in to help Kalas, that they didn't have quite enough damage to bring him down.
A lot of respect from Rival there, though. They still have plenty of time with the Fire Giant to potentially look at a third Phoenix. Instead, they retreated, they spent up, they healed up, and they're getting ready for the next Fire Giant again before they continue the siege, making sure there's literally no real windows for Space Station to get a way back into this game.
I like that Andinster is mostly all damage in this game. Dodgy and a lot of assassins won't build full damage because it's not as relevant towards the late game. You have a harder time 100-0ing people. Dodgy does not. The scaling on this character is absurd because she gets scaling off of her passive bleed that she applies with all of her abilities. Everything is basically a 100% on this god of your physical power. Bloodforge, great. That's 7. That is a ton of extra damage onto every ability. It gives them the ability to waterfall in these team fights, get one kill, start killing everybody else around the opposition. Andinster going for full damage is risky, but I think it's the right call with Dodgy.
There's two players in this game right now with really good slash lines, and to be fair, these are the two that I've been looking at all tournament saying, hey, they're having a great time of things. Andinster, 7, 3, and 6 for Space Station. But across the way, the silent Scott, he's not really silent, honestly, if you talk to him, but he's just stealthily been grinding away through these games. 6, 2, and 6 is a slash line on Jing Wei. He's been there and come up big every time. If you remember the Venenu kill in a 3v1, that probably prevented a Fire Giant there.
Definitely could have, but he did. He is a little bit low on those player damage charts. Definitely has been shown up by the Opwash giant lane covering ultimates that Wlfy's been throwing out.
Just make it a little bit easier, right?
That's right.
To hit those abilities.
Getting last hits is a skill. I'll say that for any player.
Do you reckon that's why Wlfy did it? I'm going to roast him now just as a joke, right? But do you reckon that's why he's playing the Outwash just in case he can't miss, right? I mean, Kraken's only so big, but at least the corpse explosion's even bigger.
You can turn around by accident and throw it the wrong way. That's the only time you're missing.
If he does that, now I'm going to feel so bad. But we'll find out.
Well, let's see how strong my caster's curse is.
Well, left-hand Phoenix has respawned. There is still fire minions pouring down. All that red on the left-hand side are fire minions, and so that's going to require Space Station Gaming to defend it. Rival, however, are starting to sneak down this left-hand side so far, getting the buffs on the way. And I love the fact that we still see purple buffs being taken at this stage of the game because they are relevant.
Very, very good for your frontliners, even for your hunters, if you're right in front of an enemy guardian, to get that a little bit of extra penetration, especially with BaRRaCCuDDa. Oh no, he actually sold that Magi's Cloak, so now he is full damage. So I think that he had the same realization that I did in that last fight, is that he just is a little bit short of damage dealing to Kalas. If he would have had the full pen build that he has now last time around, I think he kills Kalas, but he wouldn't have had the CC immunity from the initial jump in.
So the minions getting cleared out by Rival. Everybody groups on the left-hand side. Mid lane, Phoenix has respawned, and Andy is trying to keep him busy. Callis taunted by Jeff, but he immediately goes to the backline onto BaRRaCCuDDa and takes the fight there. Callis still alive and perfectly healthy. Andy now in the power now. Vote took a lot more damage, and so did Wlfy. The space and time, I think that did a lot of impact.
Andy takes the portal. Now it's the win on Vote, who clotheslines Andinster with that crit. A good unstable vortex from Ven, but just not enough.
Now, though, it's a 4-on-4. Andinster's dead, Wlfy's dead, but Rival aren't done yet. They know they've got fire minions in the mid lane that are causing a bit of problem for Space Station to defend too. They could rotate then. It looks like that could be the case, especially when Venenu just based in front of the minions.
And watch Ice. He still has Blink on that left-hand side, can still get in behind Space Station.
It's all about Vote getting to that Phoenix and whacking away in it, but at the moment, Aquarius doing a good job of keeping him at bay. Taunted him from JeffHindla onto Deathwalker, but he's still tanky enough to weather the storm there. Doesn't even have the aggro so far. Keller sleeps out as iceicebaby's in there, and BaRRaCCuDDa will fall. Aquarius dashes away as fast as he can, and JeffHindla may not be able to get away from this one. Deathwalker gets a double kill on HRX solo.
Man, Vote just doing so much damage in these fights. He is able to remove Andinster, which takes that fight from great for Space Station to sketchy at best. Now able to take the next two down. They've got 12 seconds before Andy's up.
Don't really have minions for this, though. This is a little bit risky. Well, I tell a lie. They've got a couple of normal minions in the mid lane. The cam in the bottom corner tells you the Rival are trying to end. Venenu gets taken down by iceicebaby. Aquarius trying to prevent the damage, but I don't think there's any hope for him here.
Oh, I don't know, Graham.
Oh, don't be silly.
Okay. I thought
Don't
they might be able to
silly.
get a little bit more than that. Rival able to battle back after a really great start from Space Station. They just couldn't quite put it together in the end.
It was a really good set, though. It was a game. I mean, we've still got the rest of the set to go, but
I know.
that was a solid game one from both teams. You saw strengths and weaknesses of both throughout. Where the early game from Space Station, great. The picks, perfect. Then it came to objective 5-on-5s, and I said we've not had a 5-on-5 yet.
That was the problem, is that the team fight was just a little bit too good. I think Opwash is the ban for
that the
Space
ban?
Station. I think that was the real catalyst to bring everything together for Rival's composition. Wlfy was able to just deal out so much damage without ever being there. That's the other thing that's really important about Opwash is you press 4, you don't have to stand there and channel it. You don't have to root yourself or anything like that. You get insane damage, insane area denial, and you can be gone. You can be way out of that team fight. Andy played great on the dodgy, 1 or 2 pathing mistakes. Really, really hurt Space Station from him. It's Space Station definitely looking good. I just hope that they can stay in this mentally, because that's always been a problem for them.
I'm a little bit worried about the focus on picking Terra so early in the drafts too. I think she's good, but I think this focus is what Rival have noticed and are actually using that to their advantage.
But keep in mind, I mean, every time Aqua blinked in was the initiator.
You're
Space
right.
Station was winning fights. I think the Terra pick is fine. I think if I'm Space Station, I'm fine with them going back to HRX solo. I really just don't want to see Wlfy be allowed to get Opwash again.
What a crazy game one so far. It's been a great back and forth in carries. Still a best of 3 between these two teams as well. And that's what I'm looking forward to for game 2 and game 3. The biggest expectations, we'll find out what happens. Let's get it over to the desk to break down game 1, however.
Thanks a lot there. 1 in the books already. Rival taking this one to the cleaners. Fantastic stuff, and I have to agree with Aggro. Opwash just seemed too much.
I mean, the God's been killing it all tournament. It obviously disrupted that insane team fight comp that SSG had. I liked it.
And that's the thing is all throughout the early stages, you know, Opwash isn't really known to get that early damage off, but once these late game team fights hit, as you can see, the post game stats brought to you by Axis Replay coming out here. I mean, so much damage. The kills weren't really there for Wlfy. Vote really coming out with the big kills, but I mean, just too much damage for them to handle.
Look at the Deathwalker and Aquarius again. I have to bring up the gold disparity. I mean, 5,000 gold, that is 2.5 items. That is obscene. And here's the damage numbers right down the middle. 30,000 damage. Venenu was killing it and still got outdone by 10K.
I mean, overall, you see the consistent damage out of all those gods, the Ares, the Susano, the Opwash. It just took over and overpowered the other team comp.
I think that Spear of the Magus pickup that we saw from Deathwalker is what really allowed Wlfy to kind of go ham on this Opwash by him picking up that item and allowed Wlfy to go for either something a little bit safer or go for a more high damage item.
Vote here. He's certainly a big aspect of this game. When I look at Hunters or the carry role in Season 5, right? Season 5? When I look at Hunters here in the carry role, as far as Season 5 is concerned, I gotta say that they're not as high impact as they have been in the past. Vote doesn't seem to... He didn't get that memo. Vote's Hunter play has just been pretty nuts all season long.
No, you can see his positioning here. He's still overall killing frontline at the start, but then right after those kills, those engagements, he's looking for these squishy targets and he's just punishing them.
And that's what you're noticing is he's staying in the backline the whole time, always behind at least one of his tanks. One of them's running up into the fight, the other one is staying back, and he's making sure to keep back behind them. You can see both of the carries sitting there together, him and Wlfy just making sure to stay out of sight and only throwing out their damage when it's necessary.
What I love about good Hunter play is is the confidence in the single shot when you just know you're threading the needle and you're going to be able to find it. And then the ability just to dive, dive, dive. I mean, Vote really just dabbing on him here.
Yeah, I mean, you see these ultimates, they're perfect. He's looking to go back in. He's positioned. You saw out of that ult, he went in position perfectly, so he was safe and ready to go back in with his team.
Yeah, it's safe to stay away from the rest of the team is the big part. Going onto the opposite side of the wall because none of those abilities are able to pierce through and really shoot him down onto there. But, I mean, you saw that big 609 crit that came in onto BaRRaCCuDDa, and that just hurts.
If you're a Rival fan, the biggest thing that you can take home from this game is that they're playing like Rival. Well, me and Weekend were talking about the individual players that have come and stood up, and Deathwalker stood up and individually, and Votes had his moment in the sun. Wlfy, that's been a little bit more problematic, but Rival are always their best when they're doing their Voltron impression, when it's all 5 players contributing as much as each other, and that's what I saw here in game number 1, and it's been a while.
Oh, 100%. You don't want one player standing out above them all. You want them all playing at that same level, and they're unstoppable. You don't need an all-star.
There are some teams that function that way. We look at, Insignum, who just lean on Lasber the entire time, and we look at Classic Energy, who was the adapting show and the supporting cast. Yaman has done it before, but Rival, going all the way back to when Coach Hazer was on their team and they were Cyclone GG, they are at their best when it's all 5 members. Deathwalker playing the Ares, setting up for his jungler, who sets up for his mid laner, cleaned up by the duo lane. That's what you want out of Rival. And as I said, for the first time in a long time, we're actually seeing it.
And at the very beginning, I wasn't quite sold with the Ares solo going through, but as that late game hit, it really showed why they just gave him to Deathwalker. He didn't need to be the frontline initiation. Let that be Kalas on this Fenrir. Burn those Magi's cloaks that I think 4, if not at least 3 of the players on Space Station had to pick up because of how much control there was.